The latest episode of Paramount's Halo television series has finally released, and honestly, it was pretty good. That's not to say it doesn't have its fair share of flaws, and of course I've already stated before that I do have plenty of issues with the show as a whole. Not that I should need to state this every single time I make one of these videos of course, but some people don't seem to understand that I can be critical of something while still enjoying elements of it. But today I'm going to be talking about the newest episode while keeping things mostly spoiler free, but consider this your spoiler warning going forward if you haven't watched the episode yet, but plan to do so, then make sure to watch it first. But anyway, without wasting any more of your time, let's jump straight in. This episode delivers some really great Spartan action across the entire runtime. We finally get to see some Spartan 3s in action, which we knew was going to happen because of the trailers. Honestly, the Mirage armor here looks so good and the prop design is great. However, I immediately want to state that I really do not like how the Covenant ships and overall designs look. Not in terms of their overall shape or structure, but rather in terms of the colour. Everything is way too grey, and you don't have to have played every single Halo game in existence to know that this isn't really the Covenant. Even in Halo Reach, which is a more grounded and gritty game, the Covenant still display a wide variety of colours like purples, blues, golds, and seeing everything on the interior of the ships and in terms of their armour and stuff just being grey or silver is really boring. Aside from that, I do think some of the Covenant designs are really cool, but I really hope if the show does get renewed for a third season that we start to see some more of these bright colours incorporated into the Covenant's designs. Anyway, going back to the Spartan 3s, I like how they were adapted, and honestly, in terms of everything about them, it feels straight out of the books. Mirage armor, otherwise known as SPI, isn't supposed to have shielding, so it's cool to see they paid attention to details like that. And again, in regards to respecting the source material, the show sort of flip-flops. Every now and again, we get moments that feel straight out of the games or out of the books, and it shows that they really do care, and then we have an episode like last week's, which just felt really off and didn't feel familiar whatsoever. But I didn't have too much of an issue with stuff like that in this episode at all. We also got a lot of action of Chief, still not in his armor, but again, like I've stated before, I don't really think that is as much of an issue as long as his character is portrayed correctly. And although there is still plenty of moments where I'm not really a huge fan of this version of the character, across the board he is much better than his Season 1 counterpart, and acted a lot better than he did in the prior episode. I also like that it does a really good job at showing what Spartans are capable of inside and outside of the armor, and that is something I do appreciate the show for, as you don't really get to see much of that in the games. This episode also delivered a lot more Ackerson, and I really enjoyed his character in the first couple of episodes too, so this was something that was nice to see. As well as having more Oni stuff, most of which was pretty fun. This episode was definitely more so centric on the main story, which was very much appreciated. We still had elements of the side stories, and I'm still not sure how I feel about all of the stuff in regards to Quan, but I will see where they take it by the end of the season before I make any final decision. And the stuff in regards to Soren and his family, again, I'm not really all that interested in where that's going. This episode also delivered a ton of stuff in regards to the Covenant. Mostly just the elites, but they themselves look really cool. I'm just not a huge fan of some of the armor design. I think it still looks too bulky and too round, and again, there isn't really much colour. But we were introduced to a new elite character in this episode, who we probably won't see again, but I thought his appearance was fun. Cortana was also present throughout a good portion of the runtime, and it's always good hearing Jen Taylor reprising the role. Of course, I can't really talk about much in terms of what these characters were actually doing without spoiling stuff. But I think everything across the board just flowed nicely. We had some nice character interactions, we had some nice story moments, and we had plenty of really fun action scenes. I might have enjoyed this more than the 4th episode, which I didn't think this season would top, yet here we are. I don't really think this one made any major decisions that kind of annoyed me, and it just felt like a fun watch. Again, in regards to the whole season, I'm holding off any major judgments until things wrap up, where I will do a complete review after I've rewatched everything, and then I can deliver my spoiler thoughts and go full in depth with the things that I disliked and did like. We've only got 2 more episodes left, so do keep an eye out for once the season has ended and I do go over my full thoughts. But anyway, I'm going to wrap things up there. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.